Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, we're pleased to announce once again that we've got Walt Lusk on. He's our president and CEO, and Walt has an amazing background, long storied history in financial services, and we won't go into all of that. Some of you have heard that before, but here's the main thing. Walt's going to share some of that information with us tonight, and we have really and truly a mission. There are loads of people out there who they're in the summertime and they have a junior or a senior in high school. And these folks are wondering how in the world they're going to afford to send their child to college. They're wondering what the market's going to do. They think they've got money in a 401k or a 529 plan or something, and they have seen the horror stories before about what happens late August, just before you need to pull out money for tuition. And most of these people didn't start thinking about this process until they're the summer before their kids' junior year, some of them the school year of their kids' junior year. And we're going to have a system that will enable us to go out amongst the people who have a good time horizon, who can make good decisions and small steps and end up in an amazing place, a wonderful place. And I tell you what, Walt Lusk has some really great information on what's going on out there right now, because it is not pretty for people who are going sending a kid to college. And one of the things that these counselors and many well-meaning, if not ignorant, college funding specialists or college planning specialists are telling them is be open about the process of refinancing your house or getting a second mortgage. And doesn't that just feel really good if you're the parent of a child, especially if you've got more than one child who's going to be going to college? So we have the opportunity to be helping these folks out. The baby boomers are just now in the very beginning stages of retiring. We've got so much money that is being transferred between generations right now. It's multi-trillions of dollars. Last I heard, it could be upwards of $50 trillion being transferred between generations. And we've got answers for them that they're not getting when they talk to the regular,
anywhere else.
Yeah, the traditional wisdom.
Anywhere else.
Anywhere else. Walt, welcome to our little show tonight, and I'm going to make the slideshow bigger and say,
yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Thanks. Hey, thanks everyone. I appreciate you joining here in this warm, blistery middle of July. Along those lines, I've been in this business over 32 years, and I'm sure you all know this really quickly to bounce on what Craig said. Thanks, Craig, for that great introduction. There are fewer of us financial advisors in the insurance industry today than there ever has been. The career system, which we're trying to address in a big way, with the major insurance companies is gone. I started with a major insurance company, was on salary for 5 years, and the theory was that as my commissions grew, the salary would reduce, which in fact actually happened. Those don't happen much anymore. They just give you a phone book and say, knock yourself out. And, we've got a way to, and we're on a mission to help parents, not only in terms of planning for college, but also back to retirement. And there really is no one out there doing what we're doing. And I've been involved with IMOs, and the deal is, you can back it up, or do it at one. For a long time, and of course it stands for Insurance Marketing Organization. And I've always asked, if ever I get marketed by these guys, well, tell me about your marketing. And they hem and hum and haw, and we don't have any, we've got great products. I says, well, without marketing, how in the heck are we going to do this? And that is what we are focusing on. Marketing, how to market what we're offering to those that need it the most, and it is a mission. We're going to do the presentation next week, hopefully, if not the following for sure, on the school presentation, because I know a lot of you want to see it, and I'm doing a little research and whatnot. But the bottom line is, when you add up all the sources of debt that parents are borrowing from, whether it be a house, whether it be from the retirement, from a regular source, from federal choices, and there's many, the aggregate debt is over $2.6 trillion of school debt, with 48 million people in debt, and it takes years to pay it off. And if that was a country, it would be seventh in the world. There's only eighth in the world. There are 7 countries that have a gross domestic product greater than the school debt. So we're on a mission for sure, and there's never been a better time. So thanks for checking out. So tonight we're going to talk about how to jumpstart your business and how to really be successful with what we're doing here at WSLG. And there's a couple of ways. And we're just going to start with the beginnings and go from there because, again, we talked about Vince Lombardi talked about coaching football players, and he started with, "This is a football." So in the infamous words of Dan Sullivan, of those of you who know him, good things only happen when you are in motion. You can't steer a parked car. So the first thing is, if you're going to build a business or yourself, is, of course, to sign up on our portal, and anything that we involve here is all free. And after that, we want to see what you look like, so upload your photo. And the confirmation that you've actually done it properly is you're going to receive a welcome letter, and it's a link in there to your own College Smart Strategy link, which you can use to market yourself and what we're doing and others. And actually, that welcome letter is actually part of the portal, and so you don't need to worry about it if you need those links in the future for its reference. We make a big deal about training here as well, and so we all ask that everybody would get certified. And what that means is we have a 74-page manual that deals with financial aid in terms of colleges, the college financial aid and such. And we're not asking you to memorize it. We're just asking you to have a working knowledge of it, so that and a resource you can go back to, of course, and to prove that you actually perused it. It's an open book test, and you pass it. Next is we want you to get contracted with American National, which is our primary company right now. And the reason why we use American National is because not only is it rated incredibly high, has $1.9 billion in reserves, their underwriting, and in fact, I just got a new email, they're even improving it even more. Their express underwriting, when you submit the application online, we get a lot of concessions. If it's under $500,000 and the client's 50 and sometimes 60 and below, then in many instances it is issued rather rapidly, and there's no paramed or anything of that nature to do it. So they get the policy faster, and of course we get paid faster. Then while you're doing that, we want you to make a list of 30, just 30, you can do more if you want, parents and grandparents that you know to approach and practice your presentation. The advantage is several-fold, and probably obvious for a lot of you, is while you're gearing up to approaching schools and getting that stuff and momentum in that regard, we want to make sure that you're learning what you're doing, practicing what you're doing, because practice does not make perfect. I can attest to that. Perfect practice makes perfect. And best way to practice it is in people that you know that might be a little bit more forgiving, but also might be a candidate for what you're offering. And we're going to go over some numbers on that and how you can make immediately $25,000 in just doing that. And in our presentation, we talk about our 4 money myths. And there's actually a thing on YouTube and on the portal as well on the 4 money myths. And I'm going to touch about that in a few minutes as well. And since we use American National, we want to make sure that you're familiar with how you need to do a proposal on American National, because one of the reasons why we use it is because they emphasize cash over death benefit and minimize the death benefit without it becoming a mech, for those of you who know what that is, which means we really are serving the client and giving them what they need in college preparation, in college financing. And looking around and figuring out where to propose, what schools to propose. And we highly encourage folks to use elementary and junior high schools. Another reason why I got involved in this is because we're talking elementary and junior high. A lot of people don't even think about approaching children in that regard. But when you think about it, we undercut our competition. It's less per month to get involved because we have more time to play with. And you know what? It just makes sense in beating our competition and undercutting it. And that's why I call it advanced underwriting. You're there first. And lastly, practice on how to approach a school. We've got it on YouTube. I actually have it in print in 3 pages. You're more than welcome to get a hold of it if you want to, and doing that. So It's not really that complicated, but you know what? Follow the bouncing ball, and your road will be paved to our yellow brick road. And so what that's going to do, of course, is create confidence, because whenever you're speaking in front of a group or somebody regarding this, you know, you want to have an air of confidence, because that's not only sexy, but it means that you know what you're talking about, you believe what you're talking about, and they want to do business with you. So, and along those lines, you're also going to become more competent and proficient, which is what we need you to do to become successful. It's going to increase your belief, because if you've got 4 or 5 people who go, hey, you know what, this makes sense, I want what you've got. That just helps the belief level. And momentum is a wonderful thing to have, but an incredible challenging thing to not have and lose. And you're going to make some money. And obviously, everybody's happy when they're making money, and it works. And as a result, chances up you're going to slip up and get referrals of other people they know, other classmates they know, of other parents they know, other grandparents. Hey, this is really cool. I want to do this. Every grandparent needs to set up a little college fund for their grandkids. So again, it all is all for a good thing. Now, how in the heck are you going to make $25,000? Well, after you've made your list of 30 parents and grandparents, and even business associates and others, you're going to yield, I know you're going to yield more than 15 appointments. You're probably going to get more like 20, 25. But again, trying to make it, I'm notorious for reducing things down to the ridiculous and making it realistic. Out of those 15 appointments, you're at least going to close 50% of them. And that's 7.5 sales. So rounding up, that's 8 sales. And the average premium that we work with is $500 a month, $125 a week, at $6,000 a target premium, and you multiply that by 8, and you've got $48,000 in annual premium, which is going to be a preview of another coming attraction later in the presentation. And there you go. And during our presentation, let me jump in here, take a little rabbit track. We talk about the 4 myths of money, and maybe you guys know these, and I sure hope you do. But one of them is the rule of 72. It was invented by a philosopher centuries ago. Albert Einstein said it was the 8th wonder of the world, and whatever interest rate that you divide into the number 72 tells you how fast your money is going to double. People need to know this anyway. If your mortgage is at 7.2%, that means that what you owe will be double in 10 years. If you're earning 7.2% in your investment, which is what we focus on, it will double in 10 years. Taxable versus non-taxable. If you are paying taxes on what you're earning, chances are down the road you are going to be earning a lot less. And again, we show that with what we're doing. One that's really important right now is the stock market. If you lost 50% in the stock market, how much does your money have to earn just to get back to even? The answer is 100%. And if it's 30%, the answer is 67%. At 67%, just to break even, your money, in typical stock market fare, it takes over 5.5 years for that money to double. And if your kid's in college, how in the heck are you going to write that check? As we all know, there's risk involved, right? And lastly, of course, is talking about a mutual fund stock market approach versus our index strategy in an IUL, which addresses obviously all of these and does it very, very well. So what it does is it primes the pump for saying, hey, some people go, my goodness, this is too good to be true. No, it follows established, simple laws that others don't want you to take advantage of, or they don't even know. So how are you making 25 grand? Well, of that $48,000 premium, that means that at 70%, you're going to earn $33,500 in terms of commission on that business. And what American National does is they advance 75% of that up front. How they do that is they do it on average the maximum per day is $2,000. So what happens over the next 12 business days in your checking account every single day, because you actually wrote $48,000 in approved premium, you got $2,000 more in your checking account. How would your life change if you got 13 deposits of $2,000 a day? Okay, I know it would change a bit, at least. And then, of course, the balance is paid in months 10, 11, and 12, which is $8,300. which means therefore your actual your entire commissions is 33,500. 30,500. But again, if you got a couple grand in your checking account over 10 days, if it's too much for you, let me know, and I'll help you spend it, or you can transfer it to my account, because I've got extra deposit slips if you need any. 3 ways to make money in this business. And J. Paul Getty, who, when he died, was the richest man in the world. He said, I would rather have 1% of 100 men than 100% of one man. And that's one of the reasons he became one of the richest men in the world. The richest man when he died was because he obviously impacted the lives of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people and got a small percentage off each. So what we are offering here at WSLG is actually ownership in the business. So the 3 ways you're going to make money is first on your own pen, and we've showed you how to make $48,000 just from your family and friends, and we can also show you how to make another $48,000 in premium every single month that you do a presentation in a school. So that $2,000 a month just might be a reality for many days in every month of your life here at WSLG. Second way, of course, is override with people that you help, because we want to recruit 10,000 agents over the next 2 years, and we're ahead of schedule. And I'm going to show you how we are ahead of schedule and how we're going to beat that goal handsomely, very easily, and sooner than later. And the third way is ownership. So that's one of the reasons why this opportunity is so popular and people are getting involved, is because there's more than one way to make money. So following the 80-20 rule, we are even being more realistic than that. And out of the 10,000 agents, we are anticipating that only 1,500 of them are actually going to do this full time and be able to earn that $2,000 a day in their checking account in many days a month. If they write those 8 applications a month on average, then of course that's 12,000 applications. At $6,000 of target premium, that's $72 million of premium every single month. Now you have to understand, in 2 years, and it'll be a heck of a lot less than that, that's only writing the business from IULs, from school presentations. I guarantee all of you guys are going to slip up, sit down with the parents, and they're going to need help and want the index strategy for their retirement, for their IRAs, for their 401ks. And so I assure you, you're going to write hundreds of thousands of dollars in annuities as well. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. And again, we are being very conservative in our expectations. So that $72 million at a 75% advance is, of course, $54 million. And the profit, since we're splitting it with you guys, is $27 million a month to us. Now, of course, we're being upfront of what we're making, and we have nothing to hide. And the reason is because we're sharing the wealth with you. How do we do that? Well, that's an annual profit of $324 million. And most businesses conservatively are valued at 3 times earnings, which in this instance, as you can see there, is just shy of $1 billion. So our expectation conservatively within 2 years is we will have a company worth at least $1 billion. So we are giving away ownership of WSLG, and the only way you can get it is if you earn it, and it is handily handed to you. If you write $50,000 of target premium that is submitted to American National by October 1st, you will have 1/16 of 1% of ownership in WSLG. And again, we just showed you, just talking about your family and friends, how you can earn $48,000, and that isn't even talking about making another $48,000 if you did one seminar between now and then. So technically,
I have to put in a caveat here, Walt, and that's we've got some new people on. It's in your first 90 days. This actually was written for release July 1st.
All right.
And so
yeah, we're going to continue this 90 days.
It's in your first 90 days.
Yeah, we're going to continue this. Sure, I'm fully interruptible. So we're making it more realistic and easy. Is your first 90 days, if it's submitted and that's not issued and paid and approved, it's just submitted. So if at the end, at the 89th day of your 90 days, you submit to American National online IUL, and it puts you over, and of course eventually it's issued and paid, but originally submitted, then you're off to the races. If you did 100,000, which again in your first 90 days when things are going, that's a very realistic goal. It really, really is. Then you get 1/8 of 1%, which of course the XOE's worth at that point is $1.2 million. And if you did double that, then of course it's 1/4 of 1%. And so what that is your retirement. And I sat down and did the math on this a little while ago, and I assure you, if you got your calculator out, no matter how it's sliced, guys, the percentage of that amount with what we're projecting is in the 6 figures. That's a 1 with 5 zeros after it if you need to write that down on a piece of paper. So how in the world are we going to realize that goal of 10,000 agents over the next 2 years? Well, I'm notorious for reducing down to ridiculous. So I'm going to tie one hand behind Kelly and Craig's back, and instead of working in all 50 states, we're only going to do it in 40 states. And if we are going to do that, then 10,000 agents in 40 states is an average of 250 agents per state, which they have to achieve in a 2-year period. And obviously, if you do that, that's only 11 per month over a 24 per state over a 24-month period, which means if we're bringing in some amazing, amazing people, which we are attracting, and we're just getting warmed up. They have people who know people. And of course, with the overrides of 10% of the people you bring in and 5% of what they bring in, 5 below you, then acquiring and having more than 10,000 agents over a 2-year period, and I'm convinced we're going to have more than 15,000 that are full-time, making well into 6 figures. Because obviously, if you're pulling $25,000 a month just on advances every single month, because you're talking to your families and your friends, you're writing annuities, and you're doing seminars, you're on track to making just on the advance is $300,000 a year. And with the advances included and everything, all the premium, that's $400,000 a year. And that's just stuff you're doing on your own pen, negating the overrides on agents and the check you're going to receive as an owner of WSLG on an annual basis. So there are people in this business right now and coming on that will be millionaires from this business. And that's what we want. We want to share the wealth and run a mission to help folks share the wealth and create millionaires, not only in terms of our clients, but us producers as well. So, and again, this is nothing in terms of the ownership that is sold. You only can't buy it. It's given away by achieving what we all expect we're all going to do anyway. So do what you're supposed to do with our help. Because again, we're focusing on marketing and giving you all the tools, and even coming out and doing a seminar and helping you if that's what it takes. I personally have given you the promise that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make you successful. Because that way, it's a win-win-win situation. You win, the client wins, and we all win. And there's certainly no losers in that regard. So to keep this under 30 minutes, I think we're right on track.
Outstanding. Well, listen, Walt, it's always nice to hear some of those tidbits that you've got, and we've got, like you said, we're bringing on new agents on a regular basis, and many of those people have skill sets that are going to lend itself to getting ownership. And so I would encourage everybody out there to think, what can you do? What can you scratch, claw, fight, or just through exactly. Excitement to get that ownership in the next 90 days, or by the end of your 90-day period, because that is a passive money pump that can make a significant difference not only to you, but in a legacy for any dependents you've got or any beneficiaries down the road. So, or I mean, shoot, for what's the word? I forgot the word. Charities or anything that you want to do. I mean, you can maybe get to be famous in your area for being one of the most giving people just on your equity ownership dividends on an annual basis. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for getting your vision going. And the Bible says, without a vision, the people perish. Well, we certainly have a vision that's been laid out for us by the needs of all these families that are going to be coming up with loads of kids. All the kids of the baby boomers are having children that are getting ready to go to college. And trust me, the situation is not getting better. It's actually getting worse. And annually, and it's going to at least get worse I've seen projections for the next 4 or 5 years at the current rate. So we have the ability to maybe start turning that trend backwards, and you're gonna make a lot of people's Christmas card list when they find out that you've got that can change their future and their fortunes for the positive in ways that are so simple, and nobody else is telling them about it. So think about that. Put your list together. We'll get you in schools and stuff coming forward. But in the meantime, you have a list of friends, neighbors, and relatives that have kids or grandkids that are going to go to college, and they need to hear about this. And I'm just here to tell you, it's happened several times where somebody talked to their warm market list, and somebody on that list that they talked to said, I have a whole group of people that need to hear this. And they got into a school or a PTA or a club, or I mean, there's all kinds of ways that happens. And so the quote you had at the beginning, you need to start having some action someplace, and that will absolutely generate
momentum.
The M word. So,
yep, momentum.
Thanks very much. Everybody have a great night, and we'll look to see you on the recruiting and the high volume list in the back of the office.
Next time. You bet. God bless everyone.